All right, we're chilling here with the VawlinOut Podcast. We're going to preview this Vanderbilt Tennessee game at Memorial Gym on Saturday. You want to stick around for this? Let's get it.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thank you for joining us. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. What you need to do is download the app, Game Time, get $20 off your first purchase with the promo code Locked On. That's LOCKEDON. And also, you can get $100 off when you buy a big game ticket with the code VEGAS100, VEGAS 100. So download the Game Time app today. So joining me is two very special guests. They are making the return trip to my home turf. I was on their home turf this past weekend. So go to VawlinOut Podcast on YouTube, check that out, or anywhere you get your podcast. But Jordan and Grant joined me. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Black and Gold, and welcome to the Locked On Vandy podcast. How you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're good, buddy. We're good. How about you?
Ready for some basketball. Ready for some good basketball.
Yes, man, I feel you on that. First off, thanks for having us on, but I agree, kind of like I was telling you before you hit record, both teams on the bye week this week, so it's a little bit boring right now.
Yeah, just kind of like it's like the gif of the guy like sitting. It's like that old fantasy football commercial where the guy's just like from the end of fantasy football season to the beginning of the next one. He's like standing next to an empty pool, staring off into space, like swinging all lonely on the swing. It's kind of felt like that a little bit. So glad to finally have some basketball ready to roll. So this is a big one for Jerry Stackhouse. This is one that if he ends the skid, especially against a team like Tennessee, he can get a little bit of momentum to finish out the season and maybe save his job. I don't know. It's getting more and more bleak by the day, but Tennessee comes in. It's a weird atmosphere in Memorial Gym, not only because of the awkwardness of the Jerry Stackhouse situation, but because it's already a weird place to play with the benches on the end zones, a lot of space between the court and the fans. It's raised a little bit. What about Memorial Gym to you guys as visitors kind of stands out?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, kind of like what you said right there with the benches being underneath the baskets, the floor being raised. It's a tough place for teams to play. Back when Tennessee got the first #1 ranking in program history in the Bruce Pearl era, we went to Memorial Gymnasium and lost to Kevin Stallings' coach Vanderbilt team in a game that the Volunteers probably shouldn't have lost. So it's a tough place for Tennessee to go play, and hoping that Vol Nation shows out in Nashville on Saturday.
Yeah, man, it's tough to go in out there and win. Whether you're supposed to win or not, it's a tough environment. They do well out there, making sure it's hard for opponents to come in and play, let alone get out with a win.
Yeah, no doubt. And when that place is rocking, it is very, very tough to win as an opposing team. And last year, y'all are looking to shake off the sting. The last time you visited Memorial Gym, buzzer beater. So what? Coming into this game now, when I was kind of doing a brief preview of y'all's team and just kind of look at some things, I noticed Dalton and I connect. There you go. I said it like that earlier. I wasn't sure if but what's going on with him, man? He's on a little bit of a heater, right?
Yeah, I mean, man, Dalton Connect, he's probably going to be the SEC Player of the Year, in my opinion. I mean, just what the guy's done since the Vols went down to Stark Vegas and played the Bulldogs probably about 2 weeks ago now at this point. But he's averaging 18.8 on the season, and since SEC play has started, he is actually averaging 27.2 from three. He's averaging 44.7% per game, and from the field, he's at 47.9% per game. So,
jeez.
Dalton Connect is really what drives the bus for Tennessee. At the end of the day, the Volunteers are going to go as far as Dalton Connect, Zakai Ziegler, and Jonas Adu are going to take them. That's the big three for all of the Vandy fans to watch out for.
Okay, so Go ahead, Jordan.
Oh, I was just going to kind of add to that. Those three, they just play well together. If Connect, like you said, he's on a heater right now, man. Anytime he does something, it's just like, mama, there goes that man.
Absolutely. Watching him, I'm like, oh boy, this guy's going to be a problem. And then watching Ziegler and Adu as well, man, just kind of watching them. And it's like almost like poetry in motion, watching them play basketball. And what I really liked about Rick Barnes, and when y'all hired him, I was like, okay, this is a really good hire. And some people were kind of skeptical of that, but I thought it was a really good hire just because like he connects these players and finds their strengths and kind of plays to that a little bit, like the pick and roll stuff, the ball movement, being able to create open looks and take good shots, and shot selection has been really, really key from what I've noticed about y'all. Whether you're streaky or not, you're providing yourself with good opportunities, and you won't miss those opportunities very long.
The one thing I've noticed about Tennessee as far as their offense this year goes, they seem to be really proficient and efficient at running that high pick and roll. When they get that going, it's hard to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of touch on what Jordan's done right there too, Tennessee did change up to that at the beginning of the new year versus the old offense that they kind of ran, and it's really paid dividends for what the Volunteers have been able to do since SEC play started. I mean, the Vols have only lost one, and that was to Mississippi State, and nobody showed up for the game other than Ziegler and Connect. So since then, Tennessee's really been on a hot streak and is probably one of the hottest teams in the country, if not the hottest right now.
Yeah, and ride that streak, right? So, what about on the defensive end? You know, who's going to match up with Ezra Mannion? Who's gonna lock him down?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to go to Zakai Ziegler. Sure, Zakai is only 5'9", but he's the point guard, and him and Jemiah Mashack are really the two anchors of the defensive side of the ball for the Volunteers. So how those guys go is how Tennessee's going to go on the defensive end. You still got Santiago Vescovi, Josiah Jordan-James, Jonas Adu is just wreaking havoc on blocking shots still and locking down what's right down there on the inside of the ball. But, you know, Zakai Ziegler really is going to kind of be the one to lock down Mannion, and we'll look for Mashack to kind of fill that role as well whenever Zakai's on the bench.
Mashack is an impressive defender. Athletic, and he's like a gnat. He just don't go away and keeps coming back for more.
And that's the key, honestly, and being able to force Vanderbilt into being able to force the Doors into contested shots, bad shot selection. I mean, we can do that without your help. To be honest with you, we take really bad shots, but you know, just the fact that, you know, it's going to be that I feel like it's going to be the Adu show down in the paint. Like I don't think there's anybody on Vanderbilt's team that can kind of compete with him right now. That's their biggest hole they need to fill in recruiting, whether it's Stackhouse doing the recruiting or somebody else. But Adu, I feel like Adu has a chance to really feast in this game. I feel like Rick Barnes is going to feature him a lot. So if Vanderbilt can figure out a way to account for that and maybe have some help down there and try to box in Adu and just do the best they can and maybe send him to the line, I think that's all the best we can hope for in that regard.
Well, you know, and talking on Jonas Adu right there as well, he is averaging 16.2 since SEC play started, almost 9 boards per game, and he's shooting 60% from the field. I've said it before on our show, and I'll say it on yours as well. Jonas Adu is the most improved player on this Tennessee basketball team this year, and it's not even close.
Yeah, he's put a phenomenal year together on the floor this year. It's been impressive to watch him. I mean, he's a very key component in that high pick and roll. If they go with him, Zakai usually pulls up, takes that shot. If they step out and take Ziegler, he's going for the dunk. So he's been very impressive this year, both ends of the court, defense, offense, just all around.
What's the area that's improved the most? Like from last year, you would have said, okay, I'll be surprised if Adu can do blank.
Score the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, last season, he was not even really a huge part of the team. You still had Olivier Cournois, who was on the team, who's now playing great ball for the Michigan Wolverines, Uros Plasitz, who's now playing overseas professionally. And there wasn't a lot of minutes for a guy like Jonas Adu to be able to play. He started jumping into that starter's role around midseason last year. And this year, he's just really taken off. He's put in a lot of work in the lab with Coach Rick Barnes and really kind of turned his whole game around, honestly.
Yeah, that's impressive. And having a really reliable big man as Jordan is just a tremendous like weight off your shoulder, it seems like, right?
It really is, man, because that's something that Tennessee's lacked. I feel like for at least a season or two, anyway. That you got a big man down there that you can rely on to pull you down 10, 12 boards and get 14 to 16 points a game, and they've got it out of Adu this year. Jonas is balling. It's been impressive, and the way he's polished up his outside game is probably the biggest standout to me, because last year I didn't feel like he could hit water if he fell out of a boat shooting from 15 plus, and he's knocked down a couple trays this year, hadn't he? Grant?
Yeah, he has. His 3-point game has really improved a lot as well. And to kind of touch on what Jordan was saying too, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. He couldn't jump over 2 credit cards last season, and now he's dunking. He's doing a little bit of everything. So the kid has just really improved his whole game in every single aspect.
Who's the 6th man of the year for Tennessee? Who's the guy coming off the bench wreaking havoc?
I'm going to say Jemiah Mashack or Jordan Gainey as well, who's Justin Gainey's son, assistant head coach at Tennessee. But Jemiah Mashack is just probably the best defender in the SEC this year, in my opinion, on what he can do. Did a great job on Mark Sears from Alabama on Saturday. And just he wreaks havoc. He's just one of the most fun players to watch play, and he's finally starting to be an offensive threat as well.
I would second that. No questions asked. And dude's just an athletic freak, man. He impresses me every time he steps on the court.
Absolutely. Just watching him, I'm like, okay, all right, that's who I thought you guys were going to go with. But I'm like, man, this is, got to find an answer for that as well. So here's my thing with Vanderbilt. Like, you look at their starting lineup, and obviously you lack inside presence, but like, you have really good guard play. You have a really good three-person. Jason Rivera Torres is kind of like that small forward, guard type combo player. But you have Tyron Lawrence, Ezra Mannion, and Jason Rivera Torres as a really good perimeter trio. But it just seems like they can't find a way to communicate. It seems like they can't find a way to move the ball and kind of figure out, okay, I need to set this up for you. And it all comes down to coaching, I think. And, I think that's going to be the biggest difference here. I think the biggest matchup to me, guys, is not what's happening on the court. It's Jerry Stackhouse versus Rick Barnes. Like, I think that's going to be the biggest chess match. Like, what can Jerry Stackhouse do with his squad? Like, they don't have many answers for Adu, and the answer should be run him ragged, and just try to get as many transition buckets as you can, and wear out Tennessee and force them into turnovers and mistakes. But it just doesn't seem like he wants to do that. That's not the NBA style.
Well, and, the way to get Jonas Adu out of the game as well, get him in foul trouble, because if he's sitting on the bench, that's when Tennessee starts to have a lot of issues. Tobe Awaka or JP Estrella would be the other two who would come in behind him, and neither one of those guys can put up anything close to what Jonas is doing right now.
That's really probably the one position on the team that I feel like Tennessee has a little bit of fall off whenever you have to go into the bench, because Estrella and Grant, who was
Awaka,
yeah, his name always slips my mind. That's why he was on the milk carton last week. But those two especially, that's the one spot I feel like you see a ton of fall off, just because Awaka doesn't give you much in scoring, and Estrella, not Australia, Australia doesn't really, Estrella, got it that time, doesn't really do much, just he's kind of out there and takes up space.
Well, he's a freshman as well, and he'll be a good player in a couple of years, but I don't expect him to really be able to contribute much until maybe his junior season.
Right.
Well, so you got to get some minutes somewhere, and What are the three biggest things for Tennessee basketball overall to kind of give you guys a comfortable win?
It's going to start with Dalton Connect. Can Dalton Connect be Dalton Connect? I mean, he's averaging over 30 points on the road this entire season. Had a great game against North Carolina where he scored 37 and tied a Dean Dome record in Chapel Hill. So that was a big one right there. What he did against Georgia and Mississippi State. If Dalton Connect can continue to do what he does, that's going to be the biggest key for Tennessee. Jonas Adu staying out of foul trouble. And then I'm also going to say Zakai Ziegler needs to have himself what I like to call a Ziggy night. He needs to continue to be Zakai Ziegler, be a pest on the ball, get in the passing lanes, and be able to set up his teammates with great shots and take care of the basketball as well.
This kind of ties into to everything you said, Grant, but I feel like Tennessee can't afford to play down to an opponent, and that's not knocking Vandy. That's just what Tennessee seems to do when they're clearly the better team. They seem to play down to the other team, and that's what got them beat at Mississippi State. They played down, didn't show up. They've got to show up for this one, and if they do, I feel like between that, having that mentality, and then everything that you mentioned, they can get out of Memorial Gym Saturday night with a win.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair criticism. We're 0 in the conference and likely really heading torpedo speed to an 0 for the entire slate. So it's very much warranted that anybody, not just Tennessee, would play down to their competition if they play against Vandy. But for Vandy to win, I think is, you have to kind of play outside of your realm a little bit. Like, you've got to find a way to attack the rim with more than just Ezra Mannion. I think you have to attack it with Lawrence. Rivera Torres has got to be able to knock down a few shots to kind of loosen things up a little bit. I think you've got to take advantage of turnovers, limit the runs. Like, if Tennessee for some reason goes on a cold streak, Vandy's got to pounce if they want any ounce of momentum. If they don't pounce, Tennessee will not stay in those cold streaks very long. And you've got to take advantage of that while you can and keep the game tight, and then just create good shots for yourself and communicate. I think Vandy has as good of a chance as anybody because of the juice that comes with this game being in-state rivals, Memorial Gym, given what happened a year ago, the last time they were in Memorial Gym. All of that kind of feeds into the atmosphere that, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I'm not worried about letdown in this one. If I'm a Vandy fan, like, there's some juice here that can really get this team going if they can capitalize on it. So that's some things that I see from this perspective of the underdog. Like, hey, this is how we knock y'all off, but we've got to find an answer for Adu. If we don't, it's over before it starts.
That's the best thing about these rivalry games, man. You never go into it feeling like you don't have a chance, because you do. I mean, last year proved it. Grant was there to watch it. He made ESPN.
My hands on my head. Surrender Cobra, just like you said on our show.
Gotta love that, man. It's it's always the Surrender Cobra that gets you. Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun regardless. Like I said, I'm still working on being able to get in the building over there. So just stay tuned on that, Grant. I'll let you know if I end up at the game.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to take a picture for the socials.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. The orange with the black and gold. We'll have to.
I'll probably have some black on somewhere. Like I said, I don't like wearing all the orange, so give me some black or gray in on that.
You just need to go all out. Just wear the all orange suit. Just go full Tennessee Bruce Pearl and just rock the orange, man.
Man, I wish that was something that Rick Barnes would do. Bring back the orange blazer. Vanderbilt and Kentucky. It makes those games a little bit more interesting, even though they already are. But he doesn't want to do it. Rick Barnes' culture is it's not about me. He doesn't want to draw attention to himself, and he's never going to end up doing it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to kind of see Jerry Stackhouse is part of a dying breed of basketball coaches that dress up in suits now.
Yeah, I was going to mention that to you the other night when you were on our show, because it's like him and Nate Oates are the only two I can think of in the whole SEC, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that's just what that's an NBA thing, I guess. The NBA guys they wear suits.
They always come in looking like they're ready to head to church right after the game.
Yeah, I mean Stack. What was funny is against Dartmouth. Like Dartmouth is the big green. And they're obviously green, and Stack comes out in a green tie and like, what are you doing? And he's got a green pocket square and a green tie, and he's just
Oh no.
I mean,
Oh no, yeah, you can't do that. I mean, I'd be upset if Rick Barnes walked out in a black and gold suit on Saturday. I mean, I know he's not going to, but if he did, we'd all be upset about that.
it'd be like Rick. Yeah, it'd be like Rick Barnes wearing a gold tie. Even I mean, it was not a full suit, but just like a gold tie.
Yeah.
Like, what do you like? Of all days to pick the green, like you. I mean, I realize it's Dartmouth, and there's you can count the people in the seats and probably hear all the conversations, but yeah, it's not the greatest wardrobe selection there.
Well, and where your equipment manager's telling you, hey, that's probably not a good idea.
Not today.
Right.
Not today. You can
Save
wear
it for next week.
Go to Starkville and wear your green tie all you want, but go somewhere that has nothing remotely close to green and wear your green tie. That's okay. Wear it on St. Patty's Day even.
Yeah.
Enjoying a cold one. Wear your green tie then.
There you go, Adam. Yeah, that's exactly it. All right, so let's play a little. Since you guys are my guest, I'm going to play a game with you guys. The start bench cut with y'all. Return the favor a little bit. Gonna look at some all-time Tennessee greats. So let's say Bernard King, Allen Houston, and Admiral Schofield.
Oh, well, I have a special place in my heart for Admiral Schofield. Even though my name is Grant Williams, disclaimer, did not play basketball at Tennessee, but I did name my dog after Admiral Schofield. So I'm going to start the Admiral. I'm going to bench Bernard King, and I'm going to cut Allen Houston just because he was on horrible teams.
Okay.
I think I'm going to start Bernie, bench Admiral, and I'm a Grant. I'll cut Allen.
Okay. Allen Houston getting his time with the Knicks couldn't get you guys. He was not great with the Knicks either.
No.
Okay, let's do a football version now.
Okay.
All right, let's go Peyton Manning. Let's go Reggie White and Al Wilson.
Ooh.
Jordan, you take this one first. You're the football guy.
All right, buddy. Well, okay, so I feel like Peyton's the obvious starter, but not so fast, my friend. I'm a Packer fan. I'm going Reggie White. Start Reggie, bench Peyton, and cut. Who's our third?
Al Wilson.
Al Wilson. That's tough,
that's hard.
though, man. That's a good one, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well,
hard.
y'all got a lot to choose from in the football side of it. I mean,
Right.
I could have gone John Henderson, Conridge Holloway, Jamal Lewis.
Oh man. I mean, I'm a Broncos fan. I'm going to start Peyton Manning. I'm going to bench Reggie White, and I'm going to cut Wilson. But, cutting Wilson, I mean, that just feels wrong.
As a Vol fan, there's
too.
Yeah,
as a
I
Vol
know.
fan, there's really no wrong order for us on that.
Yeah, I mean, you could honestly put all those any which way. I mean, I don't think you could start Wilson over Manning or Reggie White. But other than that, I mean, there's not really a wrong answer.
No, there's not. It's just kind of a present. There's kind of a what am I trying to say? It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Right. You couldn't go wrong with any order on that. Right. Either one of those, really, I don't feel like. But Houston, he went to the Knicks, didn't do much in the NBA. Reggie White, Peyton, Al Wilson, all were great in the NFL. That was a tough one. That was a good one.
Okay. So, yeah, Reggie White, one of my favorite ministers of defense. Like if I was doing this, I would start Reggie, bench Peyton, cut Al Wilson.
So you were the same way as Jordan. I do have the Reggie White jersey, and it still smells like cigar smoke from that Alabama game back in 22. So I can't ever wash it, but
The Mitchell and Ness.
Reggie White, man, just that signature club move that he had was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and that 30 for 30 they made on him about a month and a half ago too was unbelievable.
Yeah,
He's a phenomenal human being too.
Yeah,
or was.
Yeah, was.
He was. Yeah. Gosh, he's one of a kind, man. Definitely one of a kind. So before I let you guys go, Tennessee baseball. What are you guys thinking there? The training camp opens up tomorrow for everybody.
Yeah, well, we actually just did our baseball preview show the other night, so that is on our YouTube, everything. Take a listen to that if you guys want to hear it. We predicted Tennessee probably wins 50 games and wins the SEC. Not homer talk right there, but we just think that Tennessee is going to have a really big season. The only thing that concerns me is Zane Denton still isn't with the team right now, and hopefully we'll get some more answers on that. But I think it's going to be a fun one on the diamond this year for the Vols.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to fur coats and daddy hats.
Bat flips too.
Bat flips.
Well, okay, so all right. Bat flips. Like them or not?
Love it. Love it.
Love it.
I love it too. Like I love the bat flips. I think baseball misses that element of fun. Like there's too many like tight wads that are like, oh, don't do the bat flip. I mean, if you do like an excessive one, okay, maybe you have a point. But like just like a standard bat flip, right?
Yeah,
because you're excited that you hit a home run in a big moment. Like they're college kids at the end of the day. Like they need to have fun. Like I think they should bring back, obviously, again, not excessive, but I think they should really kind of bring back celebrations in college football too.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll say this. I think that baseball needs a team like Tennessee where Tony Vitello just doesn't really care and he's willing to do whatever it takes to win. And the kids go out there and have fun because baseball is such an impersonable sport to begin with. Like you can't really relate to it because you can't celebrate or anything like that. But then here comes Tennessee with bat flips, flipping the double bird, going around the diamond, all that. I mean, it makes it more fun, I think.
Tennessee's the perfect villain. Perfect.
We are.
And it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's what I say. It doesn't matter the sport. We love to be hated. That's just the way it is. As far as the bat flip goes, though, like when I played high school baseball, man, and you could always tell whenever you get a hold of one, and you got to give it the bat flip. You know what I mean? Just flip it. There
if
it
you're
is.
a pitcher and you get mad at the bat flip, maybe throw a better pitch next time.
Ain't that the truth right there?
Throw a better pitch. If you don't want me celebrating, throw a better pitch. Or if you don't want me celebrating, keep me out of the end zone.
Iowa.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
So celebration should be part of all sports, man. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun.
I love the NFL celebrations when they get touchdowns, interceptions, everything. They're the best.
Oh yeah, that or the NBA celebrations after a big shot to win the game. I mean, that's what college sports has missed for so long, I think.
And a lot of the NFL ones are like they do it with a team, like they do it with their teammates. Like that's what the essence of celebrations are supposed to be. You do those with your teammates.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, those guys spend time after practice, too, choreographing all the dances that they do and all that. And they're like, okay, so whenever you score a touchdown, Jordan, me, you, and Corey are going to run around and do this, this and that. And whenever I score, you guys are going to run around and do this. I think that's so much fun, and it works for team building much further than I think people really understand.
Yeah. People just
Absolutely.
say it's a selfish look at me thing. Oh, they're having fun with their teammates is what's really happening. So
that's exactly what's happening. I love it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I did the first chunk of the Vandy baseball preview. My show's 30 minutes every day, so like I can kind of chunk it out a little bit and kind of break it down into like smaller pieces. So like I just kind of did the overview. We got this guy Jaden Davis transferred in from Stanford, shortstop. Dude rakes, man. He's I think he's gonna end up being the leadoff hitter, but dude went on a 30-game hit streak at Stanford. Had 60 hits total, over 500 batting average. Dude was just raking, man. He was just a hit machine.
That's impressive, man. It's like a can of corn.
Well, Stanford's a great program, too. I mean, we saw them in Omaha this past June.
Stanford.
Oh, Samford. Okay. So we played them in the fall series here in Nashville, actually, whenever I went to that.
Yeah, they were Southern Conference champions, SoCon champions in baseball last year.
Oh, wow.
Those lower tier conferences, man, they put out some good ball teams, and ball players.
Yeah, they
do.
do.
Baseball goes.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, like, they're not, the top tier teams, they're getting guys drafted they have to worry about getting guys drafted to MLB. And like, so that, development is not what it's like down there. Probably same with basketball. Like a lot of these mid-major teams are really good because they have guys that stay in the program. Same with baseball. Like those guys are there, like, and they just play really well together. They find their niche. And baseball's an equalizer sport. Like baseball, unlike basketball and football, like it doesn't matter. There's so many good players out there. Like they're just going to end up on these smaller teams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's only so many schools they can go to in the SEC after that. And then they go to, wherever or smaller conference, and then they take their craft and they get it better. And then they come play with the big boys, right?
Yeah. And sometimes they get more scholarship money at these lower tier places because these lower tier places get creative with how they package their scholarships with like athletic scholarships, and like full scholarships in baseball are rare, even in the SEC. Like,
and that's crazy to think about.
It's just not how that works, but it might be a little bit different now because of NIL. But like it's like you get like so many full scholarships, and then everybody else like splits. You get like 10 fulls, and like everybody else just kind of gets money.
And you got a massive roster right there too.
Got 40-man roster.
So you can only get 10 of those kids on a full ride. Man, that's crazy.
Something like, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's something like, I was kind of surprised by it.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that too.
If that's a revenue thing for the schools, because I would imagine baseball doesn't bring in a ton of big money.
No,
I mean, Tennessee made money last year in baseball for the first time in forever and a day. So it doesn't happen often.
Right.
It doesn't. It's just not a revenue generating sport. Like it's gonna generate enough to kind of self-sustain, but it's not going to generate much more than, just being able to support itself.
Of course.
You're right.
So
you're right on that.
Well, guys, before we go, where can we find you on social media? What's coming up on the VawlinOut Pod? What's happening?
Yeah. You can find us on Twitter or X at VawlinOut Pod. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that is all the same. You can find me at grant.will94. And then Jordan can tell you where to find him and what we got coming up.
Yeah, we're you can find me on Twitter or X, whatever the hip kids call it these days. I'm Jordan. I'm at Jordan VawlinOut on Twitter. I'm on Facebook, Jordan Mountcastle. You're welcome to send me a friend request, anything like that. I love talking ball. We're gonna break down the Vandy recap Saturday night. Maybe talk some South Carolina coming up for us, and man, we enjoy getting to know everybody out here with you guys, and it's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you guys reached out. I was happy to come on your show, and if we want to do another baseball stuff, so we'll do some baseball stuff in the spring for the series that we play you guys. That'd be cool too.
Yeah.
I think we end the season with you guys, if I remember correctly.
I think that's the final series of the year.
Yeah,
if I'm
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, it's here in Nashville, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I live in Nashville for all the listeners too. That's what I'm saying here. So I don't live in the 865 anymore. And we got another basketball game coming up here in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, got a return trip to Knoxville, so we'll catch up there and see kind of where we're both at. Y'all probably be here, and we'll probably be there. So
hey, who knows? Maybe y'all trend back up.
Hey, I mean that's the hope, right? But like it's very hard out here for the Vandy basketball fans. Let's just be honest about that. It's very, very hard.
If you guys can get that win Saturday, buddy, that'll be a big step towards righting the ship for you for the rest of the year. I think
a huge boost. I think it'll be a huge kind of shot in the arm boost. So I'm ready for that. I'm ready just to see some good basketball.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
sir.
I think we all are. We're all ready for it again.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for joining us. This is the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Find us on social media at Locked On Vandy, X and Instagram. Thank you to the everydayers. Make sure you make all this possible. Thank you to my guests, Jordan and Grant. They killed it. Go check out their pod, the VawlinOut Pod. They preview everything that has to do with Tennessee athletics. So check them out. They do a phenomenal job there. So with that being said, we'll see you back here next time. Until then, anchor down.
Go Vols.
I'll allow it.
Go Vols.